There's a small jar sitting quietly in millions of kitchens right now. Most people walk past it every single day without giving it a second thought. It costs less than a cup of coffee. It's been there for years, and yet what's inside that jar was once considered more valuable than gold. Empires traded it across oceans. Physicians carried it during outbreaks of plague. Ancient healers protected it like treasure because they understood something modern society forgot a long time ago. Cloves. Now let me ask you something honestly. When was the last time you woke up feeling truly rested? Not just awake, not just surviving the morning, actually rested. When was the last time your stomach felt light after dinner? When did your morning stop feeling like a slow climb out of fog? If you're over 60, there's a good chance you can't even remember, and that's exactly why this conversation matters. Over the last few years, I started noticing the same pattern in comments from older adults. Men and women in their 60s, 70s, even 80s, saying they had accepted exhaustion as normal, accepted stiffness as aging, accepted poor digestion, restless sleep, bloating, and low energy as something they simply had to live with forever. But one simple nighttime habit kept appearing again and again: 4 or 5 cloves, a small pot of water, 15 minutes of simmering, 1 warm glass before bed, and the changes many people described were surprisingly consistent. Better sleep within days, less heaviness after meals, calmer joints in the morning, more stable energy throughout the day. Some even described waking up feeling mentally clearer than they had in years. Now, I want to be very careful here. This is not magic, it's not a miracle cure, and it's not a replacement for medical care. But there is real science behind why this tiny spice may support the body so powerfully at night, especially after the age of 60. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly what may happen inside your body when you drink clove water before bed, why nighttime matters so much, how to prepare it correctly for maximum effect, and who should absolutely avoid it altogether, because timing changes everything. Most people don't realize this, but after 60, your body heals differently than it did decades earlier. During the daytime, your system is busy, digesting food, managing stress, moving, thinking, fighting inflammation, regulating blood sugar. Your body is constantly distracted. But during the deep nighttime hours, especially between around 10 p.m. and 2 a.m., something shifts. Your liver increases detoxification activity, your gut lining begins repair, your nervous system slows down, inflammation naturally drops, cellular restoration quietly increases. This is your body's repair window, and whatever enters your system shortly before bed becomes part of that repair process. That's where cloves become so interesting. Cloves contain one of the most powerful antioxidant compounds ever measured in a common household spice. The main compound is called eugenol. You don't need to memorize the name. You only need to understand what it does. Eugenol has been studied for its anti-inflammatory, antimicrobial, circulation-supporting, and calming effects. In fact, researchers comparing common herbs and spices found cloves ranking among the highest natural antioxidant sources ever tested. Higher than cinnamon, higher than oregano, higher than turmeric. And when cloves are slowly simmered in water, many of those compounds release directly into the liquid. That warm liquid becomes something very different from plain water. Now here's where things become personal. One man wrote that after almost 10 years of waking up 4 or 5 times every night, he finally slept through the night after about 2 weeks of drinking clove water before bed. Another woman said the stiffness in her fingers every morning improved so much she could finally open jars again without waiting until noon. Again, these are personal stories, not guarantees. But the biological explanation behind them makes sense. Let's start with sleep. Cloves contain compounds that appear to interact with calming pathways in the nervous system, especially pathways related to GABA activity. GABA is essentially your body's natural braking system. It helps quiet the racing signals in the brain that keep people restless at night. After 60, sleep often becomes lighter and more fragmented. Many people fall asleep but don't stay asleep long enough for deep recovery to happen. That's why they wake up exhausted even after spending 8 hours in bed. Clove water may help support deeper relaxation before sleep begins, and when sleep improves, everything else often improves with it. Because poor sleep affects inflammation, poor sleep affects digestion, poor sleep affects blood sugar, poor sleep affects memory, energy, and even balance. Now let's talk about inflammation because this is one of the biggest hidden issues after 60. Many people think aging itself causes stiffness and soreness, but in reality, a huge portion of what people call aging is actually chronic low-grade inflammation happening silently inside the body every single day. Eugenol has been shown in studies to influence inflammatory pathways similar to the ones targeted by common over-the-counter pain medications. The difference is that natural compounds from cloves do not appear to carry the same long-term stomach irritation risks when consumed moderately. That matters, especially for older adults already dealing with medications, joint discomfort, or digestive sensitivity. Many people report that after a couple of weeks, mornings feel less heavy, knees feel looser, fingers move easier. Getting out of bed doesn't feel like such a struggle anymore. And interestingly, some of the first changes people notice happen in the digestive system. Cloves naturally support digestive enzyme activity. They may help the body break down fats and carbohydrates more efficiently. They also contain antimicrobial compounds that may help reduce harmful bacteria linked to bloating and digestive discomfort. That heavy feeling after dinner, that pressure in the stomach, that sluggish sensation the next morning? For many people, those begin improving surprisingly quickly. Some even notice flatter stomachs within the first week. Not because of fat loss, but because digestion becomes calmer and less inflamed overnight. Now let's talk about the liver because this part rarely gets enough attention. Your liver works hardest while you sleep, especially during the early morning hours. After decades of medications, processed foods, stress, alcohol, environmental toxins, and inflammation, the liver often becomes overworked. Research suggests compounds in cloves may help protect liver cells against oxidative stress. That means less cellular damage and potentially better detoxification support during the exact hours your body is already trying to repair itself. And when the liver functions more efficiently, people often notice unexpected improvements. Clearer skin, more stable energy, better digestion, less sluggishness in the morning. There's another area people don't expect clove water to influence: blood sugar. Compounds inside cloves may help improve insulin sensitivity and glucose metabolism. Overnight blood sugar swings are extremely common after 60, especially for people with prediabetes or metabolic issues. That's one reason some people wake up shaky, hungry, anxious, or exhausted even after sleeping. Supporting blood sugar stability overnight may help create calmer mornings and steadier daytime energy. And then there's circulation. Cloves may gently support blood vessel relaxation and healthier blood flow. Better circulation means more oxygen delivery to tissues while you sleep. That matters for the brain, the heart, the muscles, and even joint recovery. Some older adults describe feeling warmer hands and feet after several weeks. Others say they feel mentally sharper during the day. Now, none of this works if you prepare it incorrectly. So here's the exact method. Take 2 cups of water, bring it to a gentle boil, add 4 or 5 whole cloves, lower the heat immediately, cover the pot. That step matters because many of the active compounds release through steam. If the pot stays uncovered, much of that escapes into the air instead of staying in the water. Let it simmer gently for 15 to 20 minutes. Turn off the heat. Allow it to cool slightly. Strain the cloves. Pour into a small glass. Drink 1 glass about 30 minutes before bed. That's it. If the flavor feels too strong at first, you can add a small spoon of raw honey. Many people eventually begin enjoying the warm, slightly spicy taste on its own. A few important rules: do not overdo it. More is not better. Cloves are extremely potent. 1 cup at night is enough for most people. If you want a second cup, drink it earlier in the day, not immediately before sleep. And now, an important safety note. If you take blood thinners, insulin, diabetes medications, or medications that affect clotting, speak with your doctor first. Cloves may influence blood sugar and circulation. If you have ulcers, gastritis, IBS, inflammatory bowel disease, or upcoming surgery, you should also be cautious. And if you are pregnant or breastfeeding, avoid this routine entirely. This video is educational information only, not medical advice. Now here's what many people say they notice over time. In the first few nights, sleep often feels slightly deeper. By the end of week 1, digestion feels lighter, morning bloating may decrease, breath often improves. By week 2 or 3, many people describe steadier energy and less stiffness. By the end of the first month, the deeper changes begin settling in, and those changes are subtle at first. That's the interesting part. You usually don't wake up one day feeling completely different. Instead, little things slowly improve until one morning you suddenly realize you're functioning better than you were a few weeks ago. You're sleeping deeper, moving easier, digesting better, thinking clearer. Your body remembers what proper rest feels like, and once it starts getting the support it needs again, it often responds faster than people expect. So now I want to ask you something. If you could improve one thing first, what would it be? Your sleep, your digestion, or your energy? Start small, stay consistent, and pay attention to how your body responds.